Good evening.
There we go. You got my alert?
We are in a 1-1 game right now. We'll try not to tell you how it ends, or not tell us because I think we're on a delay.
There's a slight delay.
Slight delay. Checker outer is good. Let's get started here. Thanks for hanging out with us on another Tuesday night. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo. He's Kevin Ricca.
What's up, homie? Looking forward to talking about the first full week of the season.
First non-losing week of the season. I know I wanted to claim it as a win, but you are right. We were 3-3 last week.
It's the second non-winning week of the season.
We're 0-1-1 on the Nat shift. So we'll get started, I think, with just to have a little therapy, just a little quick therapy.
You were broken.
I was broken. I still am broken.
Somebody hurt you.
Bryce Harper hurt me. He hurt me. He did. I didn't think it was going to hurt as bad, but then when I watched him get a double hit and a home run and then fire up his dugout at our place, it definitely sealed everything. It hardened me. I'm definitely not as capable of as much love as I was, a couple months ago. I think that's true.
He can have a foot-long Philadelphia turd sandwich from here on out, as far as I'm concerned. No hatred towards him, just watching him with, like you said, those antics in our stadium.
I know.
Our guy, we raised him. We've seen him since he was in diapers. And
that's it. You have to watch that. If you care about your team, any team you've ever cared about greatly, we can make a million arguments about Bryce Harper and why we're just fine without him and all that stuff. But after being so invested in him for 7 seasons and kind of, being okay if we had brought him back here, having to watch that it happen at our place at the beginning of the season, it destroyed me. I was absolutely broken. I absolutely hated it. It's all the bad things that you should compare it to that you shouldn't compare it to in this day and age. But it literally killed me.
You took it a lot worse than I did because I was really excited about our bounce back, come from behind, late inning victory to steal a sweep, even though it was only 2-game series, out from under their chins that next night, and that felt good. Felt good to see him sitting on the sidelines with nothing to do about it, and all the hype and circumstance and glory of the most brutal night ever. It was still just 1-1 versus each other after 2 games.
That's right.
Going into last night.
The 3-3, we got busy against the Mets on a weekend set. I'm trying to think if I could throw one name out that impressed me the most during that season, that series. It wasn't our bullpen.
No, it hasn't been our bullpen.
I'm not going to say any of their names.
I think you know the name to say. It's Tony Two Bags. Mr. Anthony Rendon has been putting on a clinic.
He started the season clean shaven, but he's on such a tear. He's almost so glowing down to about here. And then they're going to be rich and lustrous down to about the last name in a month or two.
Yeah, you got to keep that crop hat on, and then you got to let it moisturize, and then you got to let it just
moisturize. He's almost hitting 500.
It's unreal what he did in the course of the week. 10 for 23 with 10 runs, 7 RBIs, 8 extra base hits out of those 10.
Oh yeah,
with 4 dongs and 4 doubles.
He's been one of the best offensive players in baseball for the last few years. He's on the short list for the National League MVP on the regular. I got a friend named Sage Walker who's a little bit of a Stros fan. He fancies himself a Stros fan, and he gives me a hard time about the Nats and who do they have. Pay attention because this guy's about to get paid, and I hope it's us. This is a guy I do hope we break the bank for, but he's 28 years old. That's the only difference between him and Harper is the age, because offensively and what they add to the equation is off the charts, and he's going to. When you thought we could get away with signing him for 125 or 150,
yeah, no.
His contract's going to have a 2 on it. I'm convinced. He's going to have a $200+ million deal waiting for him somewhere. And I don't think I think he'd be willing to give a slight discount to keep things going in the way that I thought Mike Trout gave the Angels a slight discount, even though, regardless of how much they paid him.
I love that you can look at that contract and think discount, but you know what? He's the most worthy. The most worthy of it, just like Rendon is the most worthy Nat of a monster contract. Bryce might have had a little more flash and dash, a more upside, a higher ceiling moving forward, but you know what you're getting out of Rendon year in, year out. Just the smoothest cat on the field, the way he goes about playing the game. He makes it look effortless. When he's sitting there swinging the bat in the dugout, he just feels good about himself. Smooth, easy, calm.
Yeah.
I'll take that around town for the next 8 years, especially when we're trying to get to the postseason, to win in the postseason. That might be the type of guy you want to look up to, and rely upon.
We're going to go as he goes, especially until we get Trey Turner back,
Sucks ass.
I'm the biggest silver lining guy, and I'm not going to silver lining the time frame. I don't know if it's going to take him 3 weeks or 8 weeks. I know we have that amount of time to wait for him because it's the beginning of the season. To me, that there's the silver lining. The good news about the Trey Turner injury is he's going to still be back in time to play a ton of baseball before the playoff race, which is when we're going to need him at his best. So, his numbers aren't going to be great. It's going to suck to not see that 162 next to games played for him because that was an awesome stat. That was my favorite stat for him last year. So, but to all those Sagers out there, Anthony Rendon, he's getting $200+ million, and it might be well above that number by the time this is all said and done if he really decides to hit the open market, which I hope he does not.
You are throttling my
sorry about that.
My anxiety right now. Don't want to lose him. Can't stand thinking about it. But I do know when losing Trey Turner, we're not losing much on the field with Wilmer Defoe. The guy's a whiz with the glove, and we just need some production out of him to hang on, so we can hang on here because we talk about it's 162, stay the course of 162, but we lost this shit last year in May, and May is in 3 weeks, and we lost contact with the ability to win this division in May when old Strauss went down and everyone crapped their pants.
Yep, and we laid a bunch of goose eggs. One of the things that the Nationals have enjoyed I'm watching. I think our boy just went deep. Is that Bryce? Yeah, Bryce went deep. But that's okay. It's in Philadelphia. 4-1 early.
I want to punch somebody.
F him. The Nationals rolled the NL East for like 3 or 4 seasons, and by the time they got to the playoffs, they just weren't tested. They hadn't played a lot of good series. They certainly weren't playing in tight series in September, leading up to the playoffs. They were playing, a dismantled Braves team, and a team out of Florida that literally you didn't know who was on their team half the time.
But at times we were dismantled, and we just kept winning.
Yeah, no. But all I'm saying is the difference between that and this is the early season adversity. I enjoy that. I think we need that. I think we need to be a whole lot more tested by the time it gets to the late summer.
Absolutely.
Than we have been in recent years.
I totally agree. And we haven't taken that first step, not the next step, the first step in taking care of that business because we kept saying that all last year. Next thing you know, it's September and it was over. Mm-hmm. And it was a sudden end to an optimistic attitude between the two of us. So I'm coming in with a different perspective now as I look over my shoulder and see old number 3 take 1 yard. But you know what?
Yeah.
I'd like to sneak out another one late in the game tonight. Hang in there, Strauss. Get us a couple more innings. We got to get these bats going at some point. I mean, Ken, we hit 231 as a team last week. If you take that's without the pitching staff. That's just position players. And if you take Rendon out of the mix, we're hovering at the Mendoza line.
Yep.
That's unacceptable. And aside from Rendon, Kurt Suzuki is the only other guy that put forth any type of offensive output, going 4 for 11 with 4 ribbies and a dong. No one else. Robles took a bit of a swan dive after starting off hot the first half week. It's got to come from somewhere, and I'm hoping Dozier gets a little pop in his bat after that ball he hit last night. That's got to give him a good feeling.
I like the idea that Robles can be effective in his position in the lineup. I mean, he's offensively he's going to get a lot of pitches ahead of that 1, 2, 3. So I don't know. That's the guy I would ask for because otherwise you look across the offensive team leaders and it's only Anthony Rendon across everything. I think, and if you're watching the game at home, then you just saw the terrible replay. I just want to make one other Anthony Rendon point, and that is, I think he's going to get paid exactly what he deserves. Like it's going to come right on down to his productiveness, and it's not going to be a super long-term deal because he is older than Harper. And I think
it's going to be a 7-year deal.
And that's okay, but to me, that's a whole lot different than 10 or 12. And for the money that you put up for Rendon, first of all, I don't think there's a Bryce Harper premium, that they're going to demand. The
7 years, $200 million? Is that what we've just
7 years? If it's 7 years, it might be more than 200.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Maybe like 215. 7 years, 210. 7 years, 215. Something like a Scherzer deal. Really? At the end, wasn't that almost exactly what he got? 7 years, 210.
Yeah, 30 a year.
Yeah, so I mean,
half of it deferred. He didn't seem to mind too much.
His great grandchildren are getting $1 million a year on Bobby Bonilla Day for like a decade. I like the idea that the Nationals are going to be a lot more willing to spend the average annual value that's going to take to keep Rendon, and it's going to be a whole different scenario from their, analysis of Harper.
Sure, and with the young talent they have coming up, there's positions that will be filled. I mean, seeing Kieboom having a chance to come up here and fill a huge role. Dozier's on a cheap $9 million for that type of production, which hasn't happened just yet. That's something that we can all take a look at. But they're moving out salary, getting ready for next year to open up. This Nats team is built for the future. I think Anthony Rendon is certainly the offensive guy you want leading this team into the future of Nats baseball. Zim's going to be on the way out, the face of the franchise. Eaton's in his last year. It's going to be the guys like, the Juan Sotos and the Victor Robleses, the Kiebooms. And with the amount of money we've given to this pitching staff, I think we just talked about not dipping your toes in the water and going all the way in here in the basement. You have got to make that move with Rendon, and we got to do it as soon as possible, man.
It's been ongoing. They were talking about it leading up all the way through spring training. We hope that there's a chance that, I think they're both willing to. There's no one saying we won't negotiate this during the season. I don't think I've heard anyone say that. So that's going to be an awesome news day if and when that happens. Let's go through real fast our 3-3. We are from a series standpoint. We're 1-1-1,
yep.
And that could obviously change this evening. But the
no, but it felt great to get that series win in New York. That felt great. We needed that desperately.
Strasburg got a huge win to go 1-0, and he did it over Syndergaard, and it was a pretty decent game, 4-0 game.
He was lights out, man, and I think he gave up 3 hits and 6 2/3.
Yep.
9 Ks and 1 walk. That's what we're talking about.
Out of all of them, the only real, weird baseball day was the Scherzer game because Scherzer dominated. We went up 12-2, I think, 12-1. 12-1. And that was kind of like the game. At some point, 12-1 is pretty much, it's over. It's, the other team has like a 1% chance of winning. But then like a whole second game happened where they won, 9-0 or 10-0.
They got it to 12-9, so it was, they went 8-0. We had 3 guys give up 8. I know
do I carry the one there?
It's McNamath. It's fine. It all works out at the end. You got to show your work.
Take it easy, Mathlick.
Hey, listen, they didn't have calculus there. All I know is, my son's Little League game is 12-1. I'm like, Nats are winning 12-1. He's out there playing his first game ever, and I didn't say a word to him. And last night he's like, wait, how come all these? Wait, who else gave up home runs? Wait. Scherzer gave up 3 runs. I'm like, listen. Let's focus on your career right now.
Yeah. We saw everybody.
We got to figure out. You got to play 9 different positions once before the season's out. That's all we're focusing on.
That's the goal.
But that was. Hey, we hung on there. Thank God, Doolittle calms everything down because, bringing Joe Ross in that scenario was a tad bit odd.
I loved it. I mean, he basically was out there throwing some pitches and
BP pitches.
Yeah, BP. And they got mad at him when he was trying to, I think, get a little cute and be around the strike zone. And I think they were like, "Hey, man, just throw strikes. We're up by 1 million, so we don't need anything like almost a strike or we don't need to throw junk."
Conforto has no problem hitting BP.
Yeah.
And he showed that.
Yep.
Then things started getting dicey, and I was thinking, what would really be bad this time of year? Because, DC Nats Twitter had already thrown up on itself and was limping around on crutches. That would have been a huge nail put in the beginning of the miserable coffin that everyone is. And Davey's getting a lot of crap, so that would have taken us back from the Defoe safety squeeze, getting us in the mix the night before against Strasburg, which I thought was a huge play when Davey showed that we can play small ball, we can play fundamental baseball, and we can play a clean game. And Strasburg's 4-0 outing. We just got to do it consistently.
We gotta win this Philadelphia game so that Hellickson taking the mound tomorrow night in a meaningful game to win a series before coming home to face the Pirates.
Well, then we need to get our freaking bullpen straightened the hell out because it's driving me bonkers. Everyone knows about the 8th inning. It's been a nightmare disaster. But as I look down here, Ken, every single reliever that pitched last week gave up at least an earned run.
Oh, yeah.
It was unbearable.
And Trevor still hasn't technically recorded it
No,
out,
he hasn't. And I can't stand the headline that says, we're not going to pitch him in pressure situations. This guy's a guy who throws 100, who's been involved in World Series games, and now we're going to put kid gloves on. But Whatever. That's just the headline.
He's coming back from surgery.
Here's the thing. A lot of people are saying, get rid of him, cut it. We're not going to be any good without Trevor Rosenthal. We're paying him $7 million. When he hits 35 appearances, 25, he gets $500,000. At 30, another $500,000. 35, another half. Up to $1 million at 45 and $1 million at 50 with a mutual option next year. It's capped at $8 million. That contract is not a contract you can just slice and dice.
Nope.
We desperately need him to get right in one way, shape, or form. Without him, we're in humongous trouble. And right now with him, we've been in bad shape. He's going to be fine. I like the fact that he's hitting 100 on the gun.
Yeah.
You know, he's a maniac competitor coming off of sitting out a year of baseball. He's got to calm his ass down and start pitching.
Yep.
But we need it. Don't bail on Trevor Rosenthal. We can't. We cannot bail on Trevor Rosenthal.
Nope.
It adversely affects every part of who we are. That's all I wanted to say about Trevor Rosenthal.
Hey, I mean,
and come on, buddy, start hitting the strike zone, get some outs, and start feeling it again. He'll be back. He'll be good.
What about the idea of sending him out for the first inning for a game?
See, this is when you start weirding me out, and then the whole. But if you're putting up a headline that says we're not going to pitch him in pressure situations, does that count?
I'm just saying, they put him up in the first inning.
But maybe guys get really hyped up for that first inning. You know, I'm starting for the first time ever. Yeah, you know, who knows? The psycho analysis.
I mean, you're not going to do it ahead of 4 of our guys, but I would give him the first inning ahead of Hellickson. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why wouldn't you?
You enjoy. Listen, I know I'm weird and I'm good with it. You enjoy it a lot more than I do. You know, you've embraced it.
I like the idea on some days of throwing out a guy and giving the other team 100 miles an hour.
I know you've been talking about this for 3 years to me. And listen, I'm not saying you're nuts.
Sometimes
I'm just saying that
not every time.
The baseball purists right now just smashed their speaker with a Louisville Slugger.
First of all, no team has as many starters that I wouldn't sit out the first inning as the Nats do. I would give the ball to Corbin, Strauss, and Scherzer hands down anytime. Probably Annabelle as well. But like I said, if I say, hey, Hellickson, let this guy go out and burn him down for a quick first.
Yeah, well, we got to get that straightened out because our starters gave up 15 earned runs and 33 and 2/3, and our relievers gave up 19 earned runs and 18 and 1/3. That's hideous. 19 earned runs
by the other team
in essentially 2 games. 19 earned runs in a 2-week span out of your bullpen collectively. Right when Justin Miller was starting to hit this little stride, I thought, you know, he takes a step back. Consistency seems to be our major issue on the mound, and aside from Max Scherzer, but we're consistently not scoring him enough runs. So
consistently, and the other thing about that we consistently do is it seems like he's always involved in a 0-0 game for some way too long. Even when he was in a 12-run game, I think the first, he hit a guy to send a guy to first, and he like scuffled a little bit. He gave up a home run to somebody. I forget who it was.
He gave up 3 runs.
So thankfully we came through for him. But
dude, we gave up 12 home runs this week, and apparently the hits just keep on coming. I count that as 13 and 14, but 12 home runs out of our pitching staff is, that's not getting the job done.
They're not hitting enough themselves.
And they're not Scherzer home run give-ups, challenges, just challenging the number 9 batter, number 8 guy with a fastball early in the count up 7 runs. That's fine. That's going to happen.
Yep.
These are bad, starting out behind in the count, giving up gopher balls, and it seems to be addicting to everyone. It seems to be contagious.
Speaking of contagious, when something happened, like when it says Hellickson is your starting pitcher. I mean, I understand what he's capable of doing, but I do start to feel a little kind of like I mean, nah. I worry about tomorrow night's game at 7:05 against Pavetta. Throwing up Hellickson. I mean, it could either be an awesome story of Hellickson doing something.
I think it has been.
Well,
I think I know he's not blowing your skirt up with his fastball, but I know he's hitting corners, and I know he's pitching, and it's not gonna. Yeah, you're not tuning in and can't miss baseball with him.
I'm watching it. I have to watch it.
I know, of course we do. But listen, when you guys got Miller giving up 3 home runs this week, Corbin giving up 3, Sanchez giving up 2 big ones last night. How much worse off are we going to be with Hellickson coming out there? He's been pretty safe for 5 innings for the last season.
I know, but unless Strasburg can turn this around against Nola tonight, and I'm always thinking about series, and so I'm looking at the Pittsburgh series, and to the eye, it looks great because Corbin and Scherzer are our 2 starters for the first 2 games of the Pittsburgh series. Annabelle is the Annabelle. Is it Annabelle or Annabelle?
Annabelle. I don't know, man. But when you pay this much money to those first 3 and Anna someone, you're going to have a Hellickson on the roster. It's just part of the economics. And you know what? I think he's a fighter. I think he's a tough ass. He's the UVA of this pitching staff, and you just don't want to embrace that. It's all right.
I don't like UVA.
I know, but they're the champs.
They are the
champs. And you thought they were phony. You might think this Hellickson's phony.
Oh, I don't think I think Hellickson's
give him the Tony Bennett situation.
Less phony than the Cavaliers, who still, by the way, haven't shown me everything I need to see from them. If they really want to win.
Please stop the madness. It's
the wrong side of the river. You know that.
That's not Charlottesville has nothing to do with anybody's river.
They're in a state called Virginia, sir.
Hey, man, listen, if the Nats could have 3 tough-ass dudes that would step up and show a little moxie, Max is one of them, but the same way that Ty Jerome, Guy, and DeAndre Hunter showed last night, we're going to be all right. So I don't know where that's going to come from. We don't have a lot of vocal badasses on this roster. We don't. No. I think Max is the guy.
Well, Dozier can be the guy, but he hasn't done anything.
He's on a 1-year deal. That's tough. He can't
but
be
everyone
the guy
he's a veteran.
Sure, but
people
to
know
a certain point, he does
Yep.
things right. He's going to do things right, but
he has to be he has to be productive to be effective in the locker room. He's if you're one of the better players and you're doing something on the field, he's going to be a guy that people would listen to, but he hasn't yet.
Who's the baddest ass son of a bitch on this roster?
Adam Eaton is probably the baddest ass son of a bitch on the roster.
Well, I think Max Scherzer is number 1.
Sure,
but Eaton is certainly that's there. So there's your lefty. So there's your there's 2, and if he stays healthy, hell yeah. But we need something to happen because it seems like when this stuff starts to slip away and these games start to fade away, we just kind of take it. I want to see a counterpunch. We can't pitch Scherzer every 5th day. Someone else has to come out there.
Turn fatigue off.
Yeah, and Strasburg needs to come out in a series like this when we go down 1 to Philly and step up. And, but the bats aren't working right either. Whatever. Giving up 2 home runs in that inning was just tormenting. And seeing Bryce hit one off Strasburg is making me puke. I would like to see Strasburg drill him in the ass. I keep talking about someone drilling him. And I don't want him to get hurt.
Demands it.
At some point, that just says, look, we've had enough of the antics. We've had enough of the home runs. You know what? We saw everyone drill you in the ass after you did this for us. Take a little bit of your our medicine this time. But I don't know who it's going to be besides Eaton and Scherzer, and that's the one thing that worries me because we got a lot of youngsters. We got a lot of guys on their last year of their deal, and that is one thing that scares me, And then Kendrick and Zim. These are veterans, but these are not, vociferous type guys. They're leading by example more so than, outward leadership in a yelling and screaming teammate-only situation. That's the one thing that, it's kind of bothered me over the last couple of years with this team. And I think they're a great group of guys, and I think they are tough, and they've come back from behind. I want to know who the dog is. We need someone. I don't know if it's Yan Gomes, crazy Brazilian jiu-jitsu type guy, and I don't know. He's here for a couple of years. Maybe it can be him.
Well, maybe we'll find out a little more about this team before this game is over against the Phillies. And when we come back home for a weekend set against the Pittsburgh Pirates, Corbin and Scherzer at home can get us off to a good start. When we come back here next week, we'll be getting ready to face off against the San Francisco Giants for 3. They're going to get Strasburg, Hellickson, and Corbin. 2 night games in that series, Kevin.
Wow.
We're back to night games again.
People I'm done actually with 110 playing starts.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was over. I thought the world had ended. We're just only doing 110 starts from here on out.
Yeah. No, I need my 7 o'clock. Makes a man feel good about his schedule.
It does, which made me worry because we do have those 10-10 starts and those 9-10 starts on the West Coast swings. Got to have those.
I'm not afraid of either of those.
Yeah, got to have those.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin. Well, we'll be back
Ken.
in a week from now to talk about the Washington Nationals. Hopefully in the first winning week that we've had on the Nat shift.
Yeah, we got plenty of time left in this game. Let's do something. Hopefully when we come back next week, let's talk about how this one ended. Because I'm done. I'm done bowing out of the competition.
Let's talk about who beaned Bryce Harper. That's what I want to be able to talk about.
Who's going to do it first? What Nats starter
Somebody
is going to light
to
him up first?
Yeah, I think it needs to be during this series. I think it's a cop-out if they let Annabelle Sanchez
or Corbin.
Or Corbin do it. It has to be a guy who was on the team. That's why I thought
it's got to be Max Scherzer.
It's got to be Max Scherzer, but Max Scherzer won't play them again. We do have them in May, the beginning of May, on the road. So there's always a chance you could line that up. The problem is, putting guys on base for that team makes me mad. But
I know.
But the game does demand that he be drilled. It should have already happened. We already got our asses kicked. We already had to see all that crap go down. We might as well also have been able to put one between the numbers.
Yeah, after this silly wave at second base, it might be me next time I attend the stadium.
Oh, it makes me so mad that someone hasn't hit him with the ball yet. Again, I don't want him to get hurt. But
No,
I'm just
not
saying,
at all.
the whole.
That's what we keep saying, in the ass, in the thigh, little flesh, little bruise.
And he deserves more, and that's also why he should never get an automatic walk. He should have to watch 4 terrible pitches go past his face. He should never, ever just be directed to first base.
Yeah.
He's got to see him, because it makes him, we know it eats him up inside. It tears him apart to watch just terrible pitches that he can't swing at come past him. We got to do that.
Maybe throw one underhanded.
Yeah, a nice underhanded, just way out of the strike zone ball.
Yeah. Anything to get in his head, because we know it can be fragile in between those two.
I might throw the rosin bag. I might just try to whiz an 85-mile-an-hour rosin bag in there, just because. And you know what? He should be hit with the rosin bag. We're throwing rosin bags. He needs to be hit with the rosin bag.
All right. Well,
let it be written. Let it be said.
Now we're just hitting Bryce Harper with random shit.
The rosin bag is on the field. If they didn't want you to hit somebody with something, they wouldn't put it on the mound next to you.
A wad of tobacco could be on the field. Big thing of gum.
I know. We know some people have been hit with tobacco.
Think Jan goes and get him with the old I sat and gum? Yeah, that'll get in his head.
Yeah, I sat
like
and
that one.
On behalf of First Amendment Sports, he's Kevin Ricca.
Hey, it was nice to be here. Go Nats. Hey, let's step it up this week. Show a little heart, some guts.
I'm Ken Marangolo, and this was the Nat Shift. They are Hall & Oates. Still alive.
Still alive.